All right, today we're going to talk about something that's absolutely critical for any modern business: dashboards. We're going to demystify how you can turn all that raw data you're collecting into a clear roadmap for your decisions, moving from just a bunch of numbers to real, actionable insights. So let's dive right in. Does this sound familiar? You've got mountains of data piling up every single day: sales figures, customer feedback, supply chain updates, you name it. But just having the data isn't the same as understanding it, right? It can feel like you're just drowning in an ocean of numbers, desperately looking for a signal. And this is exactly where a great dashboard becomes your best friend. It's like a compass. It cuts through all that noise, pulling together all these different data streams into one clear visual spot. It literally turns chaos into knowledge. It's all about getting past just seeing the data to truly understanding the story it's trying to tell you. So here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about the core business challenge. Then we'll dive into the principles of really effective design. After that, we'll look under the hood at the data engine that makes it all work. Then we'll see how this can help forecast the future. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with your key takeaways. The biggest problem for businesses these days isn't a lack of data. Not at all. It's that we have an overabundance of it. The real struggle, the real challenge, is figuring out how to transform these huge, messy data sets into something that helps you make smarter, faster decisions. So here's the bottom line. The ultimate goal of any dashboard, the whole reason it exists, is to close that massive gap between just collecting data and actually making a decision. It's about creating a strategic tool that gives everyone, from the CEO down to the frontline manager, the power to take informed, data-driven action.
Okay, so what really makes a dashboard great? What separates a useful one from one that just gives you a headache? It's not just about pretty charts. It really comes down to a few core design principles that are all about turning data into meaning.
First up, clarity. A great dashboard needs to tell you what's important at a single glance. And notice the key phrase here: serves a purpose. Every single chart, every number on that screen has to earn its spot. If it's not serving a clear goal, it's just clutter. And that clutter slows down your ability to understand and, more importantly, to react. Next, we've got consistency. Think about any well-designed app you love to use. You don't have to relearn how to navigate it every time you open a new screen, right? The same exact logic applies here. A consistent design means people spend less time trying to figure out how to use the dashboard and more time actually getting value from the data. It just feels intuitive from the get-go. Then there's interactivity. Look, a static report gives you one perspective, a single snapshot in time. An interactive dashboard, though, that creates a conversation with your data. By letting users filter, drill down, and explore, you empower them to ask their own questions and find their own answers. It builds a real culture of curiosity. And finally, actionability. This is the ultimate test. Does your dashboard lead to a decision? It's not enough to just show data. A truly great dashboard has to shine a spotlight on what's important, what might be going wrong, and what needs your immediate attention. It has to be a springboard for action. Okay, so now that we get the design principles, let's pop the hood and look at what's going on behind the scenes. Every great dashboard is powered by a really robust data engine. It's the complex machinery that makes the whole thing run smoothly. Some really interesting research from Fellaini and his colleagues breaks this down into 4 key layers. Think of it like an assembly line for your data. First up is data acquisition, which just pulls in all the raw info from your different sources, databases, APIs, you name it. Then the integration and processing layer acts as the cleanup crew, standardizing everything and fixing errors to make the data actually usable. The third layer, analytics and visualization, well, that's the brains of the operation. This is where the calculations happen and those charts come to life. And finally, the user interface layer delivers all those clear insights right to your screen. It's a very structured pipeline that takes you from total chaos to perfect clarity. Now, this is where it gets really cool. With the right design and a powerful engine, a dashboard can do way more than just report on what happened last week. It can actually help you see into the future. It helps you move from insight to foresight. Let's look at a really powerful example: inventory forecasting. For so many businesses, inventory is just a constant headache. Trying to track it manually is a recipe for disaster, and it leads to some really costly mistakes. You either run out of the stuff people actually want to buy, which means lost sales, or you have way too much of something nobody wants, and that just ties up your cash. It's a classic problem that is just begging for a data-driven solution. So how do you fix it? Well, a study by Arnaz and his team put a system in place using something called time series forecasting. Now, that might sound complicated, but it's a pretty straightforward idea. It's a technique that analyzes historical data to find patterns and then uses those patterns to predict what's going to happen next. In this case, it looked at past sales to forecast future demand for every single product. And the results? They were absolutely incredible. The model they built was able to predict inventory needs with 89.5% accuracy. Just let that sink in for a second. Think about what that means for a business. You're getting rid of almost 90% of the guesswork. That means better stock levels, way less waste, and much happier customers. And here's the proof. This chart is called a confusion matrix, but don't let the name scare you. It's basically just a report card for the forecasting model. It shows how often the model's predictions actually matched up with reality. And that 89.5% number, that tells us how often it got the answer right. That is a solid A+, confirming that this is a seriously effective and reliable system at work.
Whew, we have covered a lot of ground here, from the high-level challenges all the way down to a powerful, real-world example. So let's bring it all home and summarize the key things to remember. First, great design isn't just about looking good, it's about clear communication that drives you to take action. Second, behind every slick-looking dashboard is a powerful, layered system that's taming all that messy data. Third, with the right tools, you can stop just reporting on the past and start predicting the future. And finally, and this might be the most important point, an effective dashboard isn't just an IT project. It is a strategic business asset that can give you a real competitive edge. So, we'll leave you with this one thought. Your data is already telling you a story about what's coming next. The patterns, the trends, the signals, they're all in there. The real question is, are you listening? Thanks for joining us.